Hello, Dan Alasso, Making History. It is day 24 on my retrenchment journey, and as you can see, I am talking to you from my office on campus, which is a little bit more sparsely furnished than it used to be. What I wanted to tell you today was a little story about a survey. The president of Bemidji State sent out a strategic direction and campus marketing survey to the faculty and staff email list. And he said in his description of it that it builds on summer work that was done by students and faculty and staff and alumni and community partners. Now, this is news to me. I wasn't aware that such a group had been convened, and I was around all summer, so I am curious how many people participated and who those people might have been. So the survey asked people to rate a bunch of things about external and internal threats and opportunities, and then to move on to marketing. I assume the choices on the list reflected the feedback that the administration received from its summer participants and probably their own interests as well. I didn't actually think that any of the first set of things that they identified were very important or extremely important. The only one that I thought was moderately important was the increasing cost of delivering high-quality education to students. Is a threat, I suppose, to BSU, but even that is relative. Costs are only challenging when they can't be met by revenues. So two of the other options, eroding public respect for higher ed generally and changes in BSU's business model, seem slightly relevant to what we're going through as external challenges. Two more, NCAA policy and intolerance, struck me as kind of irrelevant as far as existential challenges go. Although I did think it was significant that some people in the group that formulated the questions consider racism and sexism and intolerance at BSU to be an existential challenge. As far as external opportunities went, I think that the growth of adult learners and non-traditional students is very important. But I thought that several of the opportunity questions seemed to be a little bit too focused on local and regional businesses. Even the couple of questions that weren't specifically about contracting with businesses to deliver customized job training, educational programs, seem to be leaning a little bit in that direction. The implication seems to be that somebody wants to try to hitch BSU's wagon very explicitly to training students for specific work in specific local or regional businesses or industry. And I think these questions do demonstrate the preferences of the administrators. I almost said prejudices, because they do seem, in a lot of cases, to be opinions that these administrators arrived on campus with, whether it was months ago or even years ago, that really they don't seem to have modified, even in light of evidence that doesn't align and it doesn't conform to these conclusions. These biases continue to confirm earlier commitments to things like engaging place or the sense of place, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the idea that if we could just tell our story better, students would come. The one strategic priority of the four that they identified as strategic priorities that seems really important to me is aligning the university's efforts with enrollment and retention and student success. This is obvious, right? But it didn't seem to me in this questionnaire like the administration is actually asking the students questions. It seems like they're saying, we're going to do these things that we have come up with on our own, and we'll measure the results of them using these metrics, enrollment and retention and student success. Although the introduction had said that equal time was going to be devoted to polling people on the strategies and then on the marketing, it seemed like the progress bar only looked like it had gone like 25% to a third of the way before the questionnaire and the survey dispensed with that pretense, and I began to be asked to assume the priorities that the administration had chosen and help them figure out how best to market them. Some of these pages were obviously telling the survey taker that there is a plan to try to deeply embed our course offerings and our departments and our programs and maybe even the entire university with local business and industry. Creating a master academic plan, and they did use those terms, that knuckles under and makes BSU a vocational college, doesn't seem to me like the right answer. Later in the survey, when respondents were asked to pick descriptive words for both BSU, Bemidji State University, and NTC, Northern Technical College, the survey makers actually neglected to change the follow-up questions for the NTC section about their thoughts regarding the ideal regional university and what they were excited about BSU. Is this a clue that BSU and NTC are merging? When I mentioned this question to a colleague, his response was, well, NTC is in the black. So make of that what you will. I thought this was very interesting and revealing. I hope you found it a bit interesting. I will have more to say about the retrenchment as it develops, but thank you very much for listening. I will see you again